And how has immigration changed over the years, in your opinion?
Well, a big issue is that immigration hasn't really changed in the last 10 or 12 years. We've been waiting for an amnesty or some kind of program to benefit the undocumented individuals here, but there really hasn't been a lot of change.
What advice would you give to someone who is here illegally if they wanted to become legal? What are some changes that you would like to see?
Ideally, I think myself and a lot of people would like to see policing done in a way which involves the community a lot more.
Do you find that a lot of the officers don't know the community? They don't live in the community, most of them, is that correct? What do you say to people that say that aliens helped build the pyramids or the Mayan temples? I mean, do you think there's any credence to that?
I think there is some credence to that. I think there are some lost technologies that were introduced to us by other races and that possibly we even had ourselves. But sound vibration is one of the things people...
Hello and welcome to another edition of Full Focus, where law and news intersect. I'm Crystal Parham. In today's edition, we discuss whether marijuana should be legalized in the state of New York. We travel to Queens to experience UFO phenomenon, and we go inside the box to discuss immigration law and current paths to citizenship. So we have an exciting show, so let's go. So this is Yurbi, our model, and she's going to have the 5-minute makeover. So what are you first going to do, Asha?
Well, what I normally like to do when I have someone new in my chair is say, hi, I'm Asha, nice to meet you. Instead of wearing makeup or if I have any oils on the skin, I just like to take like a little cloth and like moisturize and take your eyes.
We're here live at the BRONX International Film Festival with Stephen Coffer. He's the producer of Girl Fight, a Muay Thai story. Stephen, how did it go today?
That was great. We had a good turnout, and the audience really seemed to enjoy the film.
So are there any trends you've been seeing recently in terms of arrests? I know there's been a whole initiative on stop and frisk, that it's over, but what are some of the observations you've seen?
Apparently that memo hasn't reached the police department, because every day we see people coming through the system who are charged with simple possession of small amounts of marijuana, and they end up being arrested, being booked, and spending 24 hours or more in custody.
And tell us about this book, Worth the Wait.
So Worth the Wait is a romantic comedy. It's set in the Chelsea section of Manhattan. And it's about what happens when the CEO of a supersized stroller company falls for a famous kids fitness guru.
Yes.
Can you describe, what did you see exactly?
Right, and I saw this light pulsating in and out, no sound. I tried to figure out what the heck, I want to use the other word, what the heck it was.
The response that the government had to this Ebola, and how do you think that contributed to the public hysteria around this issue?
Yeah, so I think it's really hard because public health is meant to do two things, which is, one is to learn as much as you can about a given condition, and the second is to make sure you protect the population, right? So based on what they knew at the time, they felt like they were pretty confident not putting people on strict quarantine or, you know, the other measures that ended up being called for. And part of doing good public health is to not cause panic.
Hello and welcome to Full Focus, where law and news intersect. I'm Crystal Parham. In today's edition, we travel to Brazil to experience the World Cup, and we take a trip down the Amazon River. We speak with the founder of Queens UFO Meetup to discuss UFO phenomenon, and we go inside the box to determine whether George Zimmerman would be acquitted in the state of New York. We have all this and much, much more. We have an exciting show, so let's go. So you also had another interesting case, the Stephen SEKAL case.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about Stephen SEKAL. I went to that trial. I saw him. Pretty scary, menacing looking guy. So tell us a little bit about Stephen SEKAL.
You know, my personal relationship with Stephen Sakai was nothing like what he was portrayed as being. I mean, he was always extremely polite and respectful, and to this day, I'd probably say he was one of my most polite and respectful clients. I mean,
obviously you're a strong woman. You know, you have strong convictions. Because it must be difficult to parent in a situation like that and keep your kids on track. How did you do that?
Love. It all stems from love.
But they lock you up, send you up north, come home, you don't got no job, nothing.
You can't get a job
Yeah, you
with
got
a record,
felonies.
right? Yeah.
Which is, to me, I feel that's double jeopardy.
Yeah. You can't.
Because if that's the case, then you might as well just give me the F and don't incarcerate me if I can't get a job.
You do, is you want to empower what it means to be a Taino. You want to spread the gospel, if you will. How do you do that?
That's a good one, gospel. Well, what I started doing like 3 years ago, I started collecting books from people who didn't want any anymore, and I started going to different neighborhoods where there was high concentration of Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and I'll just put my table out and put the books out. Little by little, I started realizing that the people that were coming to my table were people either who wanted to learn about their roots or older people.
Wraps up this edition of Full Focus. Thank you for joining us and continuing in the conversation. Until next time, I'm Crystal Parham. If they're able to withstand cross-examination, I think the jury always wants to hear from the defendant. You know, during jury selection, they're asked, are you going to hold it against the defendant if they don't testify? But the reality is they say no.
They say no, but they might.
They want to hear from the defendant. So I prepare very early on so that they understand how to answer questions. They understand how to say yes or no, or maybe I don't remember. And I think that it gives them that human side. So the jury can see, look, this guy's not this really big, bad, scary person. He actually is like a human being that has a job, that has a family, and I think it helps. You can mix it with anything. So I said, cheesecake's very fattening. Let me use tofu as a substitute. Soy margarine or regular margarine, and you have the most amazing cheesecake on the planet.